Hello, my upscale friends. I hope everyone's doing well today. Welcome to Upscale Life, an inspirational show hosted by yours truly, Jamila. Today, we were talking about living an upscale life and making boss moves while we're at it. For more context, for those who may be tuning in for the first time, when we speak of the word upscale, it is a verb as it relates to a person. So it means we're making conscious efforts to improve various aspects of our life, such as our education, our career, relationships, and personal development. And it also kind of includes like when we set higher goals for ourselves, like when we are acquiring new skills, we're striving for excellence in all that we do. And then when we tack on making boss moves with upscale life, we're just taking that upscale life to another level. And when we say making boss moves, we're talking about when we take decisive actions that demonstrate leadership, confidence, and strategic thinking, as well as making those bold decisions, taking calculated risk in everything that you do, and being proactive in pursuing your goals. So the two of those things put together is what we're saying you're doing. You're living an upscale life and making boss moves while you're at it. All right. So don't want to hold you all too long today, but we do have a special guest on the show, Cedric. Hi, Cedric.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. And he will be speaking to us about how he's living an upscale life and making boss moves while he's at it. All right, Cedric, we are going to jump right into this interview.
All right.
First question. Well, it's not a question, really just the intro. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Cedric Collier, born and raised Mississippi, attended Southern Miss, father, husband, 2 kids, dog, businessman, everything. Anything you can think of.
Well,
yeah.
Okay. So I hear all those things that you are. We want to ask you now, like, whose career or life inspires you and why? Like, as you told us who you are there any like instrumental people who have helped you become who you are?
Be honest, I take a little from everybody.
Okay.
And I honestly didn't start really finding my way till I was about 21, 22. I was already in college with on my 4th major, and I'm just hearing everybody else talk about what they do and things like that. And I'm my 4th major, and I ain't even sharing about that. And it was criminal justice. I was like, I don't think I really want to do this. And I just went to the counselor's office one day and just changed my major to into the College of Business, majoring in HR. And I was like, if I can figure out business, I can pretty much figure anything out. And almost 10 years later, and we're still in it.
Okay. So it's just like, just going through life, living life just helped inspire you to be who you are. That's basically
right. I didn't even want to go to college. I just fell into college. College was never my plans.
Well, it's a good thing you went there because hey, it helped you take it to your next level. It's not for everybody, but for those who, it can help. So
yeah, it definitely did.
Good job. Okay, so if you weren't a assistant vice president of talent acquisitions, and that wasn't, what you were currently doing, what career or move in your life would you like to explore?
I would definitely be what I consider a serial entrepreneur.
Okay.
And I'm transitioning to that right now. My entire career, I've been building departments, building companies, and doing it for everybody else. And now I'm taking that turn and transition to, putting that work and that blood, sweat, and tears, and into myself. I'm building out my own companies, and so it's going to be a combination of a few different things. Like I said, I'll definitely be a serious entrepreneur because I've touched a lot of different industries, and so just trying to tap into all of it, honestly. So I'm definitely crossing over to the entrepreneurship route. I see everybody around me doing it, and seeing success early on as well. And honestly, I'm realistic with it as well, since I've seen companies I work for get it right and get it wrong, and I know it's not one right way to do it. It's not a lot of wrong ways to do it. So it's just trying to get in and figure it out because I've flirted with it for my whole life, honestly, and I know you got to just do it. You got to jump.
I mean, with
Yeah.
anything, trial and error, but you got to have that plan. You know, you have that plan, you put it in and you adjust it.
And it's
You know?
scary, honestly. I can see how so many people can start and stop, and I've talked myself out of it. At least 3 or 4 times over the last year, and it's the small things like I'm finally gonna file the LLC. I'm finally gonna get that insurance. I'm finally gonna go get that bank loan, and so a lot of this stuff is scary because now it's like, how long do I try to work in my corporate job? And so so it's I
You
can
have to
see how.
evaluate everything.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see how so many people can talk themselves out of it, so quickly because I've done it, and I honestly used to judge people like, yeah, they're not gonna really do it, and it's so exciting to see people who make that leap and see success and stuff. Um,
Yep.
finally, I guess I'm finally making that leap for myself. So
Awesome. Awesome. I love to hear that. And that's it. So entrepreneurship, and that's what I mean. It's not so much something that you're doing or you would like instead of what you're doing. It's what you want to do in addition to what you're doing. You
yes,
know, and then one day
yeah,
it may switch over to entrepreneurship, but you like what you're doing. So,
hmm,
you know, why not do both if you can? You know,
yeah,
I think it's okay. So
yeah.
good deal, good deal. Okay, so I know you're in HR, and this is probably something that you ask so many of your, hirees or those people that you're interviewing. But how do you push through your worst times? Like, if something comes up, like, what do you do to overcome it?
You got to find the good in everything. I think since I started out in one of the hardest areas of HR early on, I was always comfortable with different difficult conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I in the beginning, the first 2 years of my career, I fired more people than I hired, and those are hard conversations. So, like 8 years later, there's not a difficult conversation that I'm not afraid to have. And so, this is finding comfort, you got to find the good in certain things or in everything. I've
Mm-hmm.
always taken opportunities without looking at the dollar sign attached. 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you need that title on your resume. Sometimes you need those additional skills and responsibilities, and it may be a company that's not very desirable. But sometimes I may have to have to do it a year or two, and I've
Make
done
that
that a few
sacrifice
times. Yeah,
to get to the next level.
yes, I've
Yeah.
done it a few times in my career, and here we are, and still adding on titles and skills and building that resume out, and
Yes.
so yeah, here we are.
Good deal. I love it. I love it. Okay, so you said that that's what you do in your work time. You try to find the good in everything. What are your success habits? So what are some things that you do to make sure that you accomplish what you set out to do? What you set out to do.
I constantly, no matter what environment I'm in, I try to be an asset. A lot, even if it's a team, if I'm just on a call at work, if it's a group call at work, I try to be an asset in everything. Because it's very uncomfortable when you're the liability because you feel it. You
Yeah,
feel it, and a lot of people not
you can
honest
pull.
about that.
You're in the pool. You can feel the weight of the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody likes feeling like the weak link, so I always try to be an asset, whether it's constant learning, whether it's being prepared,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's not responding to my wife in the middle of the day because she texts me all day, and I know, and so it's a lot of that it takes. You have to be disciplined, and I'm a workaholic. It's I constantly get in trouble for working late. It's past 5 o'clock. Why you still working this? Well, somebody got to do it, and I'm always on the mindset if I don't do it, they're gonna hire somebody else who will. And knowing that's not realistic working in HR, but that's not the case. But I've always had the mindset, if I don't do it, if I can't get it done, somebody else will. And so I've
Yeah.
always tried to be an overachiever in that way.
Got you. I mean, I can understand exactly where you're coming from. You
Yeah,
just try to make sure that you're doing the best, putting in what you can, like you're
yeah,
100. And if there's one team that's good, but at least shoot for 100. You know.
yeah. And it's not always the best way to be because it's mentally taxing.
Yeah.
Because especially in the workplace, you find yourself you never pushing back. You never you want. Well, I'm already at capacity, so you're already taking on more. So it's not the best way to be.
No. You gotta learn the art of no, and like when you're
Yeah,
over it, it's okay. It's
yeah,
okay to say no,
yeah. Yeah.
so you don't
So
be
I
stressed.
went through that a couple years ago, and so it definitely helped me in figuring out your priorities. Sometimes you have to prioritize your work stuff with what's going on in your life as well. So you have to you have to cross those get tangled in there together. And so it's just trying to be organized, but it's kind of an organized mess,
Yeah. 100%. They say organized chaos. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
I do this all the time,
yeah.
Yeah. Look, I won't go into details on mine, but every day, all day, organized chaos.
Yeah,
But you can be successful in your chaos. Okay.
yeah.
Hold on 1 second. For some reason, I lost my life, but we're fine. We'll just keep going. Okay, so now she's giving us, what you do in your worst times, successful habits. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out? And when I say starting out, that could be graduating from high school, graduating from college, starting a new job. Just they're embarking on something new and different for the first time. What advice would you give them to help them take it to the next level?
I would I'll say you can find a way to learn in every situation. There's always something to learn from. Whether you've seen somebody else failures, their successes, how they did it. You can view success or failure from a lot of different lenses. And so I've seen, like I said, I've seen a lot of companies I work for be successful in certain things, and I've seen a lot of companies that I work for, and I'm sitting there watching them. I know this is not going to work, and I sit there and watch it fail. And so I've seen and taken what I've learned and saw from whether it's at work or coming up being an athlete, or how coaches coached me or how well they did. You kind of try to take all those pieces, and as you become later in your career, you become a manager. And so how that coach coached you in high school, you take those pieces and you try to build that into how you become a manager. And so it's kind of like that melting pot of what makes us us, for what we see growing up, how our parents were towards us. And so we kind of try to take the good things from those, what we perceive to be good. They may be bad to other people, but it was kind of taking what makes us less and using it as a benefit and building on those things that may not be as desirable and kind of trying to fix those, but really acknowledging where we need to improve as early as possible, and then figuring out what our strengths are. I think the earlier it helps people early in their careers if they can recognize their strengths and their weaknesses. A lot of times we don't want to even pay attention to our weaknesses. I know that's hard. It's try to ignore them.
It's hard to be honest with yourself.
If you're aware of where your strong suits are, I think that's what makes powerful people the most powerful people. If you get to the point where you can capitalize on your weaknesses, if you're in the case to hire somebody else that's strong in those areas, if you you need to go get some training or some certifications in those areas. And so I think the earlier you can recognize those weaknesses, because we all have strengths, and I think if it's common sense to build on your strengths, but the biggest piece is capitalizing on those weaknesses.
Got you. Good. Great advice. Great advice coming from our HR guru. I love that. And that's really good. And I like how you said focus on those weaknesses, because a lot of times we don't, and like you say, even when you're in a position to hire, you hire those who have the strength, the weaknesses, who have the strength in those areas where you're weak, so you all can be whole.
And most of the time, if a company's hiring someone because there's a weakness or a skills gap somewhere, so the company's already identified as how soon can we identify it in ourselves?
Yeah. Yep. Good. Okay. I love it. All right. So we're coming to the end of our show. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience before we take it for today?
I would just say if you ever want to do something, just do it. It's a lot easier to talk yourself out of doing something than just do it. I hate to say, a lot of times you can't think about it too much. You have to just do it, like I mentioned earlier.
Jump into it, because like
you have to literally jump. Yeah. Sometimes it's just about taking that first step, whether that first step is just doing the research, whether the first step is going to file that LLC or anything. It's just about doing it. So a lot of it is small. A lot of it doesn't cost anything. A lot of it, it's just about doing it. We are our own worst critics and our own worst enemies. The longer you think about it, you think, well, can I really do that? Can I really juggle this? You know, it's always the what ifs, and so those what ifs come when you're in your own head, and so sometimes you just have to jump.
All right, I appreciate that. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And sharing your story with us and giving us the good advice that you did. For those who are watching, we appreciate you all for tuning in to Upscale Life Inspirational Show. And if you would like to be a guest star on our show, go to www.upscalequeen.com. And it should be like the third icon, I think, on if you're going on your phone. It's called Upscale Life. Choose that icon, and then it will allow you to sign up for an interview. When you schedule an interview, we get you interviewed, and we'll get you slotted to premiere your interview on, and and share it with the public, because that's what we're doing. We're here to try to make a difference and to encourage ourselves and those who we come into contact with every day. So thank you so much for joining us, Cedric. We appreciate you talking with us. And those who are watching, you all have a good day, and we'll talk to y'all later.